The second chance we never expected. Red Heart Complete Love Story. Approximate 1,100 words. At 40 years old, Emma Carter had stopped believing in grand love stories. Once, she had imagined growing old beside the man she loved, filling a house with laughter and family traditions. Instead, life had handed her years of heartbreak, loneliness, and quiet evenings spent reading novels that reminded her of dreams she no longer chased. Emma owned a small flower shop in a peaceful town. Every morning, she arranged roses, lilies, and sunflowers with a smile that looked genuine to customers, but hit a heart that had forgotten how it felt to truly belong to someone. Across town lived Daniel Brooks, also 40, a successful architect. Daniel had spent years pouring himself into work after a painful divorce. His friends often encouraged him to date again, but every dinner invitation ended with the same answer: "I'm too old to start over." One rainy Thursday afternoon, Daniel rushed into Emma's flower shop to escape the heavy rain. Water dripped from his jacket as he apologized. "I'm sorry. I just needed somewhere dry for a minute." Emma smiled politely. "Flowers don't mind the rain. Neither do I." Daniel laughed softly. That tiny conversation lasted only 5 minutes. Yet somehow, neither of them forgot it. The following week, Daniel returned. "I think I owe this shop a coffee for saving me from the storm." Emma accepted. Their coffee lasted an hour. They talked about books, music from the 90s, forgotten dreams, and how strange it felt turning 40. Neither of them flirted. Neither expected romance. It simply felt comfortable. Weeks turned into months. Daniel found excuses to visit the flower shop every Friday. Sometimes he bought flowers. Sometimes he bought nothing at all. Emma secretly looked forward to hearing the little bell above the shop door. One Saturday morning, Daniel invited her to a local farmer's market. Emma hesitated. "I haven't been on something that feels like a date in almost 15 years. Daniel smiled gently. "Neither have I." She agreed. The market was full of fresh bread, handmade crafts, and live music. They laughed while tasting homemade chocolate and argued playfully about which apple pie was better. For the first time in years, Emma laughed without pretending. As the evening ended, Daniel walked her home. Outside her front door, silence filled the air. "I had a wonderful day," Emma whispered. "So did I." He didn't rush. He simply held her hand. It was the warmest touch either of them had felt in years. Their relationship grew naturally. No dramatic promises. No impossible expectations. Just honesty. Every Sunday morning, they cooked breakfast together. Emma discovered Daniel loved making pancakes. Daniel learned Emma secretly dance while cooking. They spent evenings watching old romantic movies, walking through parks, and sharing stories they had never told anyone else. Months later, Daniel surprised Emma with a weekend trip to the seaside. The ocean breeze carried the smell of salt and fresh air. They walked barefoot along the beach at sunset. Emma leaned against him. "I used to think love had an age limit." Daniel kissed her forehead. "I think love was simply waiting until we were ready." That night, they talked until sunrise. Not about the future. Not about marriage. Just about life. For two people who had spent years feeling invisible, being seen was enough. As winter arrived, life became unexpectedly difficult. Emma's flower shop struggled financially. Fewer customers meant smaller sales. She worried every night. One evening, Daniel noticed her tears. "You've been pretending everything is okay. I don't want to become your problem." Daniel gently lifted her chin. "You became my favorite person long before any problems appeared." Without telling Emma, Daniel organized a community flower festival. He invited local businesses. Friends spread the news. Families came from nearby towns. Emma's little flower shop sold more flowers in one weekend than it had in 3 months. When she discovered Daniel had planned everything, tears filled her eyes. "You believed in me when I couldn't. I'll always believe in you." That evening she kissed him, slowly, tenderly, with every thank you her heart couldn't say aloud. Spring arrived. Their love became stronger with every ordinary day. No expensive gifts, no dramatic adventures, just shared breakfasts, long conversations, holding hands, watching sunsets, choosing each other again and again. One afternoon, Daniel invited Emma back to the beach where they had first spoken about love having no age limit. The sky glowed orange as waves gently reached the shore. Daniel reached into his pocket. Emma laughed. "If that's a ring, I'm going to cry." "It is." He knelt in the sand. "Emma Carter, I don't promise a perfect life. I promise honest love. I promise quiet mornings. I promise to hold your hand when life becomes difficult. I promise that every ordinary day with you will be extraordinary. Will you marry me?" Emma couldn't stop crying. After years of believing her greatest love story had already passed her by, she realized it had only just begun. "Yes." People nearby applauded as Daniel placed a ring on her finger. The sunset painted the sky with gold and pink, almost as if the world itself celebrated their second chance. 6 months later, they married in the garden behind Emma's flower shop. There were no hundreds of guests, only close friends, fresh flowers, soft music, and 2 hearts that had waited 40 years to find each other. As Emma walked down the flower-covered path, Daniel couldn't take his eyes off her. "You look exactly like the woman I prayed I'd meet." Emma smiled. "And you arrived exactly when my heart was ready." Years later, customers still visited the flower shop. Many asked why every bouquet seemed to carry a little extra happiness. Emma would simply smile toward Daniel, who often arranged flowers beside her, because the most beautiful flowers weren't growing in the shop. They were growing the life they had built together, one ordinary, beautiful day at a time. Sometimes love doesn't arrive when you're 20. Sometimes it patiently waits until 40, when 2 hearts have learned that true romance isn't about perfection. It's about choosing the same person every single day. And for Emma and Daniel, that choice became the greatest love story either of them had ever lived.